65% of small and medium enterprises say revenue for this year is unlikely to outperform previous year's results. Now, that's according to a Singapore Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry survey of over 600 firms. Now, nearly a third of the firms say they'll have lower revenue than last year. The rest are forecasting it to be equal or more than what they earned before. Still, 77% of the companies say they forecast a struggle with rising business costs. And half of the respondents, as you can see, think that they'll make less profit than last year. And that's because of the difficulties they face from business transformation and emerging challenges. For instance, more than half are finding it hard to recruit suitable manpower, and some 3 in 10 are concerned about global instability. While businesses understand the need to transform, they say it's easier said than done. Slightly more than half cite a lack of internal resources. 36% are unsure of how it will affect their operations, and some 25% are also facing resistance from staff. Now, amid tough business conditions, that's why more than 70% have tapped government grants. 53% say the SMEs say that they benefited from digitalization schemes. 44% say they received manpower support programs. 40% also benefited from grants aimed at combating rising business costs.
There will be opportunities for SMEs to tap and explore if they demonstrate or show hand their courage, strength, and resilience. An old Chinese saying, 有为必有机, which means there are always opportunities in a crisis.
Well, companies looking to enter the South China market can look forward to more support. The new initiative aims to help firms gain a deeper understanding of doing business there. The joint program between SCCCI and EnterpriseSG will also link them to new business opportunities. Our firms will get insights from augmented workshops. They can pick up tips on business etiquette and ways to improve relations with Chinese businesses. Support will be extended to businesses venturing into the Chinese market through networks established in areas like Guangzhou. While speaking to business leaders, Deputy Prime Minister Heng Swee Keat shares how companies can grow successfully.
So I encourage every company to compete and innovate, yet at the same time also come together and collaborate to solve common challenges and chase opportunities together. This will enable our companies to continue growing and thriving, and our workers to have a better future.
Well, we have with us on Zoom Mr. Chia Kim Huat. He is Chairman, Commerce and Industry Committee at the Singapore Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Chia, welcome to the show. Now, we have just been talking on air about what some might be calling insecurity, particularly in revenues coming from many firms. How can businesses even perhaps think of expanding overseas at this time when there's so many internal challenges?
Well, I think a lot of the issues facing business now is about rising business costs. And actually, for business to continue, you must be able to pass on the business costs by seeking better and higher revenue. So actually expanding overseas, especially to a big rising middle-class market like China, would be useful.
It is useful, but especially for smaller company that does not have that kind of resources that a large company might have. In the quick read before we crossed you, the links, insights, augmented workshops. What else is being done to help companies enter the Chinese market?
I think when the companies look at entering into the Chinese markets, I think as DPM Heng has said earlier today at the conference, we must look at how to collaborate together and form partnership. After all, China is one of the largest economies in the world. That means there's a lot of demand for quality products and services, and Singapore food and Singapore's so-called management skills are actually well sought after in China. And other than looking at China for its huge opportunities for its domestic market, we also can look at how to learn from China. Actually, China has a very huge digital economy, ranging from advanced manufacturing to AI to autonomous electric vehicles. Actually, a lot of these solutions are relevant not just for Singapore, but our broader Southeast Asia region. So as businesses get engaged with China, they can also adopt some of these Chinese-ready products and solutions and bring them to this part of the world. In that way, they can also grow their presence in the region.
I think you touched on it a little, but give us more details of what exactly are the kind of opportunities that are available to Singapore companies in the Greater Bay Area as it stands.
I think the Greater Bay Area, especially Shenzhen, is known as the Silicon Valley of the East. So they have actually a lot of very ready payment solutions, robotic solutions, automation solutions, including, as I mentioned earlier, autonomous vehicle. And as this part of the region is trying to grow a smart and green city, a lot of these solutions in China are actually quite appropriate. And actually, China, some may not be aware, is also one of the largest investor in renewable energy. They are the largest solar panel. They manufacture a lot of wind turbines and blades as well. And a lot of these products and services, Singapore businesses can see how to partner with the Chinese and bring those to this part of the world. And it's not just Southeast Asia, including further afield like Africa and other parts of the world.
All right, Mr. Chia, the next question, since you mentioned it, is two ways, right? So industries here, they can benefit from China. So, for example, in terms of the huge progress China has made on solar energy, autonomous vehicles, so we can pick up industries here can benefit from that. On the other hand, you earlier also mentioned that food and management skills, these are industries that China is looking to Singapore for. But if you could narrow that down, which are the industries you think are most likely to benefit from your initiative today?
I think if we were to look at, what is the cornerstone of our bilateral relationship, recently, our Prime Minister, they visited China earlier this year, and they upgraded our bilateral relationship to one of what we call all-rounded, high quality, and more importantly, it's about the future. So if you are looking at working on the future, what are the most relevant industries for the future? There are two very often talked about. One is the digital economy, and the other one is the sustainability economy. So actually, for these two areas, there are a lot whereby Singapore businesses can look for both in China and bring those solutions out of China. And other than digital and what I call sustainable economy, the third factor is a diversified supply chain. As we know, the world is now dealing with geopolitical uncertainties. So it's useful to have a diversified business ecosystem. So by engaging with China and, collaborating with Chinese in this part of the world and further afield, we allow ourselves to have a diversified sources of business partners, of equipment, of raw materials, of products, and that would bode well for both countries and also strengthen our relationship.
You mentioned some situations around the world that may complicate issues in this relationship. Is there any sense of a danger, perhaps, in being too over-reliant on the Chinese market?
Well, I think as everyone who does business knows, concentration risk is also one factor to look out for. So I think we need to strengthen and deepen our relationship with Chinese businesses. But at the same time, we should also look at how to diversify our business income as well as our partnerships. So as I mentioned earlier, Southeast Asia is actually a very fertile ground for growth. We also have a large economy growing with middle class. And so is actually South Asia. And Singapore actually has very good relationship with our neighbors and with the South Asian countries. So that put us in a very strong position to have a more resilient business structure so that we will not be affected by any blockage or challenges in a single source of income situation.
All right, noted it. Thank you so much. We've been enjoying speaking with you, Mr. Chia Kim Huat. He is from the Singapore Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you.